Hello and welcome to another episode of the Expanse Abridged Podcast series. Today we have chapter 29, which is a Holden chapter of Leviathan Wakes, the first book in the series. So the last time we saw Holden and Miller, our two goons, our boys, they'd gone off on a little adventure together, and they'd left the rest of the team locked in a cupboard, like an escape tunnel, and they'd gone to go figure out what was going on in Eros, because they love a bit of adventure, and they're the main characters, so if they sat in a cupboard for a few chapters, it would be quite boring, and I probably wouldn't do a podcast about it. But they're dicking about, and then they got infected, they had a big radiation dose, and they were like, okay, I want to go find the boys again, I miss them. They got back to the cupboard, and the boys had gone. And the last sentence in the last chapter we read together was, "Fuck me," Holden said, and that's the first one of this one. "Fuck me," Holden said, and a moment later, they left us. No, she had left him. Naomi had said that she would, but confronted with the reality of it, Holden realised that he hadn't really believed her. But here it was, the proof. The empty space where she used to be. His heart hammered and his throat tightened. Breath coming in gasps. The sick feeling in his gut was either despair or his colon slowing off its lining. He was going to die sitting outside a cheap hotel on Eros because Naomi had done exactly what she'd said she would. What he himself had ordered her to do. His resentment refused to listen to reason. It's very sad. So you saw it a lot in the last chapter and the ones before where he's like, we'll go back and get Naomi. Alex and Amos weren't his priority because they're not fit. That's the issue with that. So he's kind of dealing with the reality of that. Miller's asking how long we got left until the radiation kills him because the dose they had was so high. Previously they reckoned they'd only have like 6 hours until they were bleeding out their rectums, was the quote. And Holden's just wishing fuck he had Shed our big boy from the very start who was a mechanic. The phone's still down, so they can't even call Naomi to tell them, like, wait up, we're going to make it to the ship. And Miller's like, we just have to go anyway. And Holden's looking at Miller and he's saying, Miller's clearly on edge. He killed 4 people, and Holden was increasingly frightened of the cop. And obviously Miller as well doesn't really help because he's giant, because he's a belter. So he's towering over 2 meters, and he's just towering over Holden, trying to be friendly. And Holden thinks, I wish he was threatening instead of being friendly. Miller kind of sets out the law, and it's the way I see it, there's 3 ways it can go. 1, we find your ship still in dock, get the meds we need, and maybe we live. 2, we try to get to the ship, and along the way we run into a bunch of mafia thugs, die gloriously in a hail of bullets. 3, we sit here and leak out of our eyes and arseholes. I'm liking the first 2 better than the last one. How about you come with? And it's just, Holden's like, fuck it. He starts laughing. He says, sorry, I needed to feel sorry for myself for a minute, and then I'll come. And Holden, as they start moving towards it, and he's trying to summon bravado he doesn't feel, because our boy, he wants to get the girl and be the hero. And at the moment, he's just dying of cancer, and he's kind of musing about it. It's like even during his time in the Navy, the idea of dying in the line of duty had always seemed distant and unreal. His ship would never be destroyed, and if it was, he would make it to the escape shuttle. The universe without him in it didn't make any sense at all, which is a really nice quote. And he's as he's going along, he's looking at Miller and he's saying he'd known the man less than a day, didn't trust him, and wasn't sure he liked him, and this was who he'd die with, which is a really nice quote when you consider their relationship over the 9 books, kind of in and out. To avoid too many major spoilers, but yeah, as I've said before, sometimes this book is amazing with how pathetic some of the quotes are when you're given, like, they could plan out 10 years of writing. And I don't think they had it. They had like a few points where they'd say like Amos being the last man standing, etc. But to say Holden would die with Miller in the very first in the very first book, and only halfway through, is a very good quote. So the boys go for a run, but they head back to the casinos, and the casinos are full of like 1 million people, all crammed in those levels, waiting to go get killed in the gas chambers and be infected and turned to that thing. And there's not many guards, only a few hundred guards, thousands and thousands of people, and it seems inevitable it was going to be a riot, but Holden doesn't want to be the guy to start it, because people would get killed. Because obviously all the guards, they've got guns, they're armed, but they're not properly trained. And you can hear raised voices and people yelling at people, and then the odd gunshot every so often, then a volley of gunshots just trying to keep people calm. And screaming, because these are just thugs, they're not real police. And they're going down a corridor, and then it doesn't meet his head, it's a coffee shop, and one thug has been separated from all his goons, and he's all alone, this man. And he fired once, a small body staggered forward, and then fell to the ground at his feet. Holden couldn't tell it was a boy or a girl, but they couldn't be more than 13 or 14 years old. The thug moved forward, looking down at the small, thin figure at his feet, and pointed his gun at them again. It was too much. Holden found himself running down the corridor toward the thug, gun drawn, screaming for people to get out of the way. Half his shots went wild, hitting the coffee shop counter and walls. One, and then a few of them hit. And basically, our boy Holden, he sees that, and he's like, fuck it. this plan, die gloriously in a hail of bullets. Let's have a go. So he runs down the corridor, shooting, emptying his magazine at the guy, and he only lands 3 hits, all of which enter like his chest plate. And Holden stands in front of them. His gun runs dry, and he's the other guy raises his gun at him. Before he can pull the trigger, Holden counts the 3 bullets against the heavy chest armor with the Thug's riot gear. The Thug says, "Stupid motherfuck." Then his head snaps back in a spray of red, and Miller arrives, saying, "Gap at the neck, remember, chest armor's too thick for a pistol." Because Miller is cool as fuck, and he's in his Joker mode where he just loves killing. He's Crumbopulous Michael. It's, oh boy, here I go killing again. And Holden's trying to be the hero and save the kid. But yeah, at this point, after that, even that mild bit of exercise and running down the corridor, he tastes a lemon at the back of his throat. Swallow tries to stop himself from throwing up. He doesn't want to see his stomach lining. And he was waiting to be shot or more police arrive, but no one's there, and he's just a sea of calm in an Armageddon. He crouches by the boy, maybe 13 years old, Asian features, dark hair, his chest had a gaping wound in it, blood trickling out. And Miller's like he's dead, sent to mass, shot, he's just gone, while Holden's like, maybe we could take him to the ship to save him, but Miller has to kind of sit him and go like, nah, it's just gone, mate. Then the gang, they get moving again through the casino. Fuck me, so Holden said. Miller, you keep saying that. And they get to kind of a way out, an escape route, and they see 2 ranks of men in heavy armour with loads of machine guns. They weren't trying to control the casinos, but they were blocking people getting out. A few people run towards them as they watch, like a dozen or so people. They all get mowed down by machine gun fire and then falling to the deck besides people who had tried before. Miller says, "I count 34 of them. How many can you handle?" Holden looks at him, but only his face could tell he was joking. So 30 men with machine guns, clear line of sight, no cover. We don't get past that. And the chapter ends. It's a short one there. But you can kind of see the horrible situation they found themselves in, where you've got thousands and thousands of people trapped in the casino levels, waiting basically to get gassed and infected with the radiation. And the only people in charge are the thugs, who are just kind of corralling them like cattle, but also freely shooting them if they want to. So yeah, very dark, very dark. And our boys, they've got to get out of there. And they've got to go find the gang and get obviously as well, get the fucking radiation medicine. But yeah, very good, very good. And I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. But more importantly, as ever, I hope you have a lovely week.